This point, I will be sharing with you some updates and status on the Fusarium Wilt infecting Cavendish banana in the Philippines. This is a joint paper by my colleague, Christine Panaligan. And next slide, please. First of all, I would like to say that we are working with the Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic, and Natural Resources Research and Development. And we are mandated to formulate policies, plans, projects, strategies for S&T and technology development for agriculture, aquatic, natural resources sector. And we program and allocate government and external funds generated for science and technology efforts in the ANR sector. And we monitor research and development projects and generate external funds for its R&D activities. With this, banana is one of the important commodity that we are working with. And we have crafted the industry strategic program in collaboration with our implementing agencies from the academe, from the government and the non-government agencies, as well as international partners to address pressing problems affecting banana. That's why I am going to present. This is the outline of my presentation. The Philippine banana production, its crop status, distribution of Fusarium wilt incidence in the country, and the impact of Fusarium wilt and the Fusarium wilt management, considering the different aspect on R&D support ongoing projects, adoption of the Fusarium wilt resistant soma clones, biological control of Fusarium wilt, cultural management, capacity building activities, and government intervention policies. Next slide. So the Philippines, we have around 449,030 hectares planted to banana, and we are producing 9.2 million metric tons. So our productivity is 21 metric tons per hectare. We are exporting 2,872,698 metric tons of banana, mainly the Cavendish banana, which is valued at 1.13 billion US dollars. Next slide. So this is just a picture of how our different varieties are grown in the country. For the area planted, you would note that the Saba variety or the only occupy almost 41%, while Cavendish only occupy 20% of the area. Lakatan is only 13%, and all other varieties about around 26%. When we look at the production volume, you would note that the production of Cavendish is almost more than 50% of the volume that we are producing, and these are mainly for export. And then our Saba produce 27%, and Lakatan less than, it's only 10%. So basically, our production volume comes from the production of Cavendish. And this, we found out, is the one more susceptible to Foc TR4. Okay, next slide. So we have observed Fusarium wilt infestation in the Philippines as early as 1970, but in 2002, this particular strain of Fusarium wilt has been observed. And in 2005, that was the start when we are alarmed with the infestation of this Fusarium wilt. And it was confirmed that the causal organism of this is the Foc TR4, which is causing the new epidemic in the country. And it has damaged almost 15,500 hectares in the major banana producing region. Yeah, you would note that, okay, next slide. Next slide, please. So this particular species, as we are all aware with this group, is actually a soil-borne fungal pathogen, and it kills the plant completely when infected. And it's really difficult to control due to its nature. It is soil-borne, and it produces resistant structure called this chlamydospore, and it survived in the soil for decades with or without the banana plant. So it has caused the wilting of the bananas from older to younger leaves, even the splitting of the pseudostem, and this discoloration on the pseudostem. Next slide. Part of our projects which we have funded is to look into the distribution of Fusarium Wilt incidents in the area where it has the infection. In this map, this is actually on the southern part of the Philippines. We call it Mindanao. And the yellow dots are the banana plants grown in scattered in the different areas of different varieties. And the red dots is the one that represent the areas that were infected. So it is concentrated only in this area, and it is on the southern part of the Philippines, lower part of the Philippines. Next slide. So we also look into the incidents by variety. So in here, the Cavendish variety are only planted in this area. This is also where we have our commercial plantations. And what we are after with are the independent growers, because the commercial planters they have the protocol to control the pest, to manage the pest. But the independent growers, they are the most affected by this disease. So that is the scenario. Next slide. So for Lakatan, this is grown all over Mindanao, but the infection that was mapped is only on areas where they are near these Cavendish planted areas. Okay, and then for Sabah, less infection were observed based on the map. And these are the areas planted with Sabah, but the infection were only concentrated in this area. Next slide. And then for Latundan, there is also minimal infection observed. Okay, so this is actually the different documentation on the different farms where the infection were observed. This is in the Davao City, Compostela Valley. But these are mostly farms of independent growers where they don't have the protocol to control the disease. And this is where we put our resources on having a program to provide the farmers the protocol on how to handle this particular disease. Okay, next. So on the impact of this Fusarium wilt, we have found out from the project of Dr. Aquino that the average cost of eradicating totally affected area per hectare is $9,057 US dollars, and the gross revenue loss due to quarantined unproductive productive hills per hectare per year is around $8,890. And the net revenue loss due to quarantined unproductive hills is around 2,740. These are the result of their assessment on the economic losses for the infection of Fusarium wilt. Okay, for on the Fusarium wilt management, next slide. This is actually what we have funded, the SNT management approaches against Fusarium wilt on Cavendish in Mindanao. This is actually a 3-year program from 2012 to 2015. And the main components of these projects are the adaptability trial of Fusarium wilt resistant varieties, the GCTCB soma clones. Actually, we got this through our connection with Bioversity. BAPNet, the Banana Asia Pacific Network. And then the development of biological control strategies and assessment and distribution of Fusarium wilt incidents in Mindanao. So the funding that we have allotted here is only $658,000 US. As I said, we also have some collaboration with ACIAR, and they have contributed, and we have had some management practices na we adopted out of this project on integrated management Fusarium wilt of bananas in the Philippines and Australia. This is primarily on the crop management practices to manage Fusarium Wilt TR4 and the options to limit the losses of smallholder Cavendish production. Okay, next slide. And these are the other ongoing projects that is still being conducted. We have some studies on the pilot testing of Acticon. This is a biological agent against Fusarium wilt in Cavendish banana. And the development of nano-formulated biopesticide for the control of Fusarium wilt. And the biological control of Panama disease through the analysis of soil microbiota. This is a joint cooperation with ECO. And also the decision support system for monitoring and management of Panama disease in banana using hyperspectral and RGB imagery. And another project that will be implemented or conducted will be with ACIAR is an integrated management response to the spread of Fusarium wilt of banana in Southeast Asia. This is in collaboration with ACIAR. So on the use of the Fusarium wilt resistant soma clones, these are our findings. The GCTCB 219 were observed to be 100% disease reduction. So it is resistant to Fusarium wilt. And these are some of the parameters that we have seen. And what we only observed here is yung hand malformation, which makes it not much good for packaging when we are going to export it. So that is one problem that we encountered with this soma clone. GCTB 218, this is considered to be moderately resistant, but they have more uniform hands. So this one can be planted by our farmers if they will not be planting the most susceptible Grand 9 in their area. Next slide. So these are some of our accomplishments during that period. We were able to plant and distribute from 2014 to 2016 this much 219. And then on the 2017, our farmers tried to adopt the planting of GCTB 218 and 219 they use it to replant our 50 hectares which were affected by this particular disease, while 2.3 million of GCTB 218 were planted and used by the commercial banana companies. So as an immediate impact, if before they are harvesting 5 bunches per week in 2012 or even none, 2016 it has increased to 30 bunches per week. That is the improvement in the production of the independent growers in the area. Next slide. So these are some of the documentation, the comparison before in 2012 and when the soma clones were used in 2016, their farm have this much harvest, and they start selling their fruits, although as I said, they have some problem with 219 with malformed fruits. Next slide. So when it comes to the use of microbial agents against this Foc TR4, when the Grand 9, this is the most susceptible variety, is applied with this bomb, vesicular ambuscular mycorrhiza, with plus Trichoderma harshanum, they observe 73.4% disease reduction. And for GCTCB, since it is moderately resistant, the post-planting application of Trichoderma harshanum resulted to 73.6% disease reduction. For GCTB219, there's no need to apply microbial control agents. Those are some of the major accomplishments that they have observed. And so these are some of the documentation. The susceptible Grand 9 applied with the microbial agent, they produce some fruits, and also the robust plant structure of the 218 and the 219 with the use of these microbial agents. Okay. This Acticon, actually this was produced by our UPLB Biotech group at Los Baños. This is being applied at the seedling stage, and they have found out to have 95% survival rate for Grand 9 when applied with this Acticon. As they observe, it has better root system. So the plants become more healthier before they are planted. So those are some of their findings with this. And this one is the use of some cover crops in the area being planted with banana to enhance the suppression of Foc TR4. The use of this cover crop like Arachis pentoi, Calapogonium muconoides, and then the Ipumea batatas, the ornamental sweet potato. They found it to be important in shade tolerant, reduce soil erosion, prevent weed growth, and conserve soil moisture. And they contain group of rhizobium, nitrogen fixing bacteria that help the soil fertility. So it is found to be effective in some of the farms growing banana. On the management strategies by small-scale farmers, these are some of the practices they employed in their farms. Burning with the rice hulls, chemical injection in pseudostem, but these are for other pests. Biocon agents application, and putting chemical impregnated sticks into corm and pouring chemicals on the candle cigar leaf and spraying chemicals on the whole plant, removing leaves and chopping or sanitation. For the combination of methods, these are some of the practices that was recommended. Next slide. So these are some quarantine measures that most of our farmers use in their farms. Actually, some of these were copied from the commercial farms, as they also help in trying to control the infestation around the area. Next slide. And these are very important activities that we have funded training seminars on the Fusarium Wilt management. And these are done for the researchers, for the farmers, so that they will know what to do and what measures they have to apply in their farms. And the production of IEC materials also as flyers for further information and presentation on the symposium and other activities. Next slide. So these are some of the policies, government interventions, issuing this special for quarantine that they should not transfer the plants, infected plants in other areas which are not infected, so as not to spread the disease. And they issued implementing guidelines on the quarantine procedures to prevent the spread of Fusarium Wilt disease as part of their barangay ordinance in the areas infected by Fusarium Wilt. I think that is all. And so these are our partners for these activities, academe, the University of Southeastern Philippines, the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, Department of Agriculture, the LGUs, and of course, the Department of Science and Technology and the consortium. And for the international, I think it's on the others. Next slide. We have these international partners, the Bioversity, ACIAR, and Mecoteco, and also TDRI. So for more information, this is our executive director to be contacted for. Thank you very much.
Thank you.